Hello. We may not have any Six Nations action this weekend, but we still have some great rugby to talk about, and we're going to focus on defence. So it's the powerhouse of modern rugby. Three of the teams who lead the top 14, the Premiership and the URC, that's Toulouse, Leinster and Bath, all lead those leagues by having the fewest points conceded. Everything starts with defence. But it's become a little bit more confusing in recent years because it's not as simple as it used to be. Perhaps back in the day, we might have seen blitzes and drifts, and that was kind of it. Now, modern defences are advancing, and by advancing, they're also making attacks better because attacks have to be better to break them down, and that's helping us to get to the golden age of rugby, which I believe we're in. So, what are we seeing when it comes to defence? This is more or less what we expect to see teams using as their defensive pattern. Now, stripped out the attack because actually it doesn't really matter what the attack are doing. The goal of the defence is to fill as much of the pitch as they can, but crucially, what they want to do is they want to tighten up around the ruck, here the yellow R. If they tighten up there, then they're defending where the immediate threat is. So the ball is there, and they're defending that threat. Now, if we move the ruck over, you notice here how everything else comes with them. So everyone else tightens up around that ruck, and then they leave space on the far side of the pitch where the previous ruck was because they're tightening up to defend that immediate threat. So this is maybe a little bit of a shift away from what we might have seen back in the day. When I first started playing rugby, maybe 25 years ago, you would more or less man mark. Okay, so you'd have a couple of people around the ruck, but then one of you would mark the 10, one of you mark the 12, one the 13. It's quite a simple way of defending, which was to its credit. But the problem is it leaves massive gaps between the defenders. This method, it tightens up where the threat is, as I say, and then leaves space outside. Now, if I just move this ruck into the middle, what we'll see here is the two people at the back. This is usually the fullback and the 10 who are back deep, although that could be different for different teams. But they actually haven't moved at all. Usually you might have expected the pendulum. So a winger, a fullback, and the other winger work in tandem as the ball goes towards one wing. That winger will push up, the other winger will drop back, the fullback will slide over. It's quite a difficult way of defending. It also can be obliterated really by a left-footed kicker and a right-footed kicker who can quickly switch play and kick to the space where the pendulum isn't. So in this case, just keeps it simple. Often teams as well will drop a 9 just behind the defensive line, the sweeper here, who can just cover wherever play goes. But let's have a look at that in an actual match. We're going to have a look here. Harlequins against Northampton. Northampton, one of the best defences in the whole of the Premiership, and also one of the most hard-working. They make more tackles than anyone else. We're just going to pause this here, though. Just remember where the ball is. It's just on the halfway line. And you can see here from Northampton, they've had to chase back. There's been a kick. Obviously, they've lost quite a lot of yards from that kick, so they've got to chase back. And what might we expect to see here? Well, back in the day, being taught this as a kid, I was taught everyone comes off the line, but we don't see that here. And there's a reason for that. You've got to read what's in front of you. And what the Saints see is that in that first phase, there was no real Harlequins options out wide. So only a few guys go up, preserves everyone else's legs. If we just let this play through, you'll see what they're doing here. They're not all going up as a line. They're working as a line, and then they're pushing out when they need to. So you notice everyone out wide is holding back. They don't need to push up yet. But those close to the ruck are pushing. But in this case, they're also letting them go wide. It's a hard place to attack from when you get out wide. And you see there, they got them out wide. And then when they go one passing and they explode off the line. We've probably gone through 5 or 6 phases now. Queens are maybe 8 metres further up the pitch. So this is being really good Northampton defence, even if it's not being exactly firing off. So now Harlequins try and push out wide, and you notice here Saints bite and then just slide across the pitch. And despite all that kind of flare and flash from Queens, they're actually going to be slightly further back than they were before. And look at all the other Saints players. All they've really done is just shifted across the pitch. They've not charged around, they've just shifted across to cover that space in the midfield, whereas the Queens now having to reload. And this is one thing we often miss, is that defence is exhausting. but so is attack when you're not going forwards. So in this case, Queens have to keep reloading back and forth behind the ball. And this will be the last phase that we see. But you notice now they've got caught out. It's been a slow look. Saints are being able to reset and they come firing out. And Queens are going to get caught well behind the line. They're going to lose ground from where they were at the start. Let's look at another example here. This is going to be over in France. This is going to be Dax, who are playing in the goals here against Angoulême. Now, again, this comes off a kick and Dax attack, and they do a pretty good job here. So again, compared to where they started, they've done a really good job. But in this situation, this is one of the places where the attack coaches don't like to be, because if you're caught here, it's really easy to defend because you can just fire off the line. You don't have to consider the other side of the attack because you notice here the other side is the sideline. So you get to fire off. Now, in this situation, Dax want to play wide, or certainly they spot an opportunity, and we can talk here about the edge. This is the last defender in the defensive line, so they want to try and get to that edge. So you notice how Angoulême in the purple fly off the line, and then they hold their feet, because when the ball gets here, they're then a bit of difficulty. So we're looking at maybe a 6-on-3, although they got the winger swinging behind. So what they do is they either go soft. So we talk about line speed, obviously pushing up off the line, which is crucial. Every single defensive set, you should be pushing off the line in every single phase. But then you need to be able to be soft, which is just slide across the pitch. Don't overcommit. Just let the opposition push wide, and then you just go with them. So in this case, they're soft. They slide across the pitch. And Dax might make a couple of yards, but now they're on the other side, and it's a great defensive spot. And you see here just how quickly they come off the line. So you know that they might have conceded a few yards, but they're going to fire off the line now to get caught behind them. And here you go, great hit, catches them behind the line, and look how many Dax players are now having to retreat to get onside. So constantly give and take, give up a few yards, but only if the next phase you're in a great position to fire off. And what we see is eventually when they do come round, all the Dax players are knackered, tackle, and it's a turnover ball there. It's fairly simple in some ways, the modern defence. You want to fill as much of the pitch as you can, whilst also making sure that you stay as tight as possible to the initial defensive threat, which is obviously where the ball is. Second thing, you have to get off the line. Regardless of what the numbers are like, those first 1 or 2 steps have to be forward because it cuts down the attacker's time. But then if they do want to go out wide, you can just show them that way. Just usher them across the pitch, make the tackle out wide, and then it's a perfect place to attack and steal the ball. So some really crucial parts that we see there. And I encourage you next weekend when the Six Nations are on, just to see how those defences operate. Are we seeing really aggressive defences who want to get up in your face and try and turn over as quickly as possible? Or are we seeing those defences that are willing for you to have the ball, but they want to break you down, keep knocking you backwards, make it exhausting to attack against, and hope that you kick the ball away and that they can then play off the counter? It's a fascinating part of the modern game. Thank you.